Okay, so did anybody else see Angel Dust's new sweater for the season 2 trailer and think, oh my god, I have to have that? Well, I did, and I'm gonna show you how I did it. The first thing I did was get 2 sweaters off of Amazon. These are pretty cheap. I got pink and white. We're gonna start with the pink one because pink is the main color of the body of his sweater. So I'm just marking in chalk where I think I need to put my cut lines. I'm also marking where the pink on his shoulder ends, and then also just reminding myself that I need to cut the cuff of this sweater off as well with a chalk mark. Make sure you raise your arms before you cut this. Can I tell you how many times I've made a crop top way too short, and then when I raise my arms, it's not under my boobs anymore. So with this one, I decided to lower it just a little bit because you never know, I can always take it up if I need to. You can keep your sweater flipped inside out so you can actually see the chalk marks. I don't know why I flipped mine the right side out, but I'm just marking it with a pin so that I can take my ruler and I'm just going to draw a straight line all the way across where I have marked where I want to cut that bottom part off completely. I'm going to do the same thing with the arms. I'm just going to cut where I have marked that I need to cut off of my sleeve. And for me, I wish I had made this a little bit longer because I like my sleeves extra long. They're just not as long as I like them, but they're still good. So just keep that in mind when you are actually cutting your sweater. If you like long sleeves, just make these cuts just a little longer. So now we're going to take the white sweater and we're going to cut off the bottom binding part of this sweater because we're going to use it on our final sweater just to make things look nice and professional and completely finished. So now I'm going to line up my pink sweater with the armhole of the white sweater so that I can make a mark of where I need to cut off the white sleeve so that I can do the stripes on his sleeves. Once you have the white part cut off, put it up next to the pink part and line the sleeve up. And I made mine 2.5 inches long as far as the stripes go. This just depends on how much seam allowance you want to leave on the stripes that you're about to sew together. Then you're going to take the pink sleeve again and line it right under that white part that you cut off and do another stripe there. And now you're going to cut the white cuff off of the bottom part of that sleeve, but you save the sleeve this time instead of the cuff, because the sleeve is the bottom part of Angel's sleeve. You will be saving the pink cuff because that's the cuff for Angel's sweater. And now you have all of the stripes that you need for your sweater. As you can see, my pink stripe is just a little too long for this sleeve. So before I attach the stripes to each other, I'm just going to take in that one spot. I'm just drawing a line where the other seams are, and I'm just gonna sew over that line and cut off the excess. Okay, so if you're new to sewing, this next part might be a little bit tricky. We're gonna sew the stripes together, but to do that, you've gotta turn the pink stripe right side out and the white stripe can stay inside out. And what I like to do is line up the seam lines so that I know that the armhole is going to go the right way. Something else that may help you if you're new to this, you might want to just make a mark where the seams are supposed to meet each other. That way you know which part is the top and which part is the bottom, since the sleeves do taper down. So one side is going to be longer than the other. So you just want to make sure you're sewing the stripes in the correct orientation. When you're sewing your sleeves, you should probably be using a stretch stitch or a zigzag stitch just to make sure that the fabric still has some movement and some stretch to it. I am going to be sewing the rest of this on my serger, so if I switch machines, that's why. Okay, so here we're going to take the white sleeve, the rest of it, leave it inside out, and take your stripes you just sewn, make sure they are right sides out, and line them up inside the white sleeve. Make sure that they are right sides together and pin around the whole armhole. And then take it and sew it together just like you did the other part of that sleeve. Okay, I promise we're almost done with this sleeve. Make sure everything's turned inside out and take the cuff you cut off of the pink sweater. There is no right or wrong side to the cuff because it is, both right sides are out. If you don't cut off the bulky part of the cuff like I didn't, just try and pin right under the bulky part or cut it off. And then take it to your machine. Definitely make sure that if you are not serging this, you use a zigzag stitch. You need this part to stretch around your hand. This is just me running all of that right through my serger so that I can finish off my seams. Because we started off with an oversized sweater, we're gonna have to take this in quite a bit. Grab a friend if you have one and have them mark this for you. It'll be a lot easier. I don't. So I'm just pinching it where I want it to be, like the width I want it to be on me, and I'm marking it with a Sharpie so that I don't stab myself with a pin trying to take this off. Okay, we're gonna leave that for now. And now we're gonna attach the sleeves. So this can be a little tricky again if you've never put sleeves on a shirt before. What you should do, start with this shirt inside out, and then make sure the sleeve is right sides out. Slide the seam in through the armhole and line up the bottom seam with the seam of the shirt. This can be a little difficult if you're not used to it. Don't worry, just take it slow, you'll get there. Just line up those bottom seams, that way you know the sleeve is going to be on the correct way and not upside down. And then pin all the way around the sleeve, take it to your machine, zigzag stitch or serge it, and then do the same for the other sleeve, and you will have two sleeves. Give it a quick turn inside out just to make sure everything looks nice and pretty, and then go back to those markings that we made a second ago. Because I didn't have help, my markings on the front and back are not going to line up, so I'm just kind of going and picking a place in between those and putting the pin there. When you have this going on, just make sure your shirt is completely flat and that there's no bunching on it, the underside of it, because this will matter when we sew up the side seams. I don't know where my French curve for like actual shoulders went, so this is not the right ruler, but if you can find some kind of curved ruler or eyeball it, you need to be able to taper your line off into the sleeve, and it's going to be hard because this is a crop sweater. There's not a whole lot of room to do a steady taper, so this is going to be a really steep taper. But once you get it tapered, just pin everything together, take it to the sewing machine, baste it first, try it on, and then you can serge it or finish the stitch off properly. But baste it first, just in case it does not fit. Do not cut anything off until you have tried it on. Try on your sweater, make sure it fits. Does it hang on you weird? This is the time to fix that if it does. If everything is looking good, just go ahead and cut off that excess fabric. You don't need it, it's going to create bulk. Now up next, we are going to attach the white bands that we cut off of the hem of the white sweater. And I'm just going to cut off the bulky serge together part that I didn't cut off before. And I did this just so it wouldn't unfold on me when I was measuring it against my sweater. But for me, my white band was a little too wide for my crop top. So I didn't do this on camera, but I basically did the same technique I did with the pink stripe that was too long. Except this time I did unfold the band all the way, sew the seam that I needed to sew, and then fold it back so that I don't have a noticeable seam on the outside of my garment. Just pin everything around in an even way. Make sure that the waistband isn't stretched more in one part than the other, and then sew it around like you have been using either a zigzag stitch or your serger. And now we are almost done. The only thing you have left to do is the chest fluff. Take a piece of fur and make sure the fur is pointing down so that you don't sew it the wrong way up. Measure how long you need that piece and then draw a line. Use a box cutter to cut this because if you use scissors, you're gonna blunt the fur, which honestly, you're gonna have to use scissors anyway because cutting a round shape out of this with a box cutter that is dull is hard. So you'll see me use scissors later. Don't do it though, just use a box cutter. Be better than me, do it right. So I'm just folding it in half and I'm drawing a heart. Here come the scissors, and it's just because I couldn't get my box cutter through it because I need a new blade. All right, take your sweater, fold it in half, either iron it or mark it with a pin so you know where the center line is. Now unfold it, take your heart and line up where that crease is just so you can get it right in the middle, pin it all around, and take it to your sewing machine. To sew down the fur, I'm using the widest stitch length I have. I do backstitch both times at the beginning and end. I'm just using a wide stitch because I want to be able to pull the fur out from under it later after I brush everything and trim all the fur back up. And ta-da! You are finished. Congratulations, you have just made your own DIY Angel Dust crop top sweater from Hazbin Hotel Season 2. I haven't trimmed the fur on my heart yet, so that's why it's a weird long piece right there. So just trim your weird long pieces. But if you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you follow me on all my socials. I have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And yeah, see you later. Bye!